So hello and welcome to J Designs. If you've been following along with this channel, you've seen me build quite a few things out of this little fabrication shop. It's really not a shop, it's a one-car garage, but there's been a fair few projects that have came out of this thing here. And today I want to use this video to see or check the viability of moving this entire setup into a small 7x10 or maybe a 6x12 box trailer. And I also want to put a living quarters in that box trailer. So we're going to take things out of this garage and move it right behind the camera there into the driveway with a little box on the floor. And we'll see if I can fit everything I want to fit into a much smaller space than this right here. So real quickly, I want to cover some of the things that have come out of that garage right there, fabrication wise. So the front end conversion on this truck is pretty crazy. The bumper's been deleted for a ton of ground clearance. As you can see, the front's open. That's good for off-roadability. There also is a front hitch in there, and I slide a fabricated winch blade into there, and we have a winch, so that's a pulling device for when you get the truck stuck or if we want to pull somebody else out. All these videos will be linked below as well. So we move around the side of the truck. There are rock sliders. They're kind of like side steps, but they're designed to support the entire weight of the truck on that thing there. And then probably the biggest fabrication thing that's came out of this shop is that flatbed right there. That was tremendously complicated. It took me about 3 months to get it to the point where it is right now, and it's still not done yet. I'm also going to be doing a rear bumper for this truck. Perhaps that rear bumper will be built out of a box trailer if I deem at the end of this video that it is viable to fabricate and live out of a small little box trailer, but have to wait to the end of the video and see. So what's the point of taking this entire fabrication setup and putting it into a box trailer, potentially? Well, there's three main reasons there. The first one being I live kind of far away from work, and it's I'd save myself about 2 hours to an hour and a half commuting back and forth. And if I can just park my trailer at work, and assuming nobody cares at work, I can just stay there when I work. I only work 3 to 4 days a week and doing 10-hour days, so I either do 30 or 40 hours a week, depending on how that is. So I'm really not at work as often as many other people are, because they want time to do this stuff, obviously. The other thing too is we'd obviously be able to take this setup and park it at some really cool locations if it's on a trailer. So there's a nice forest around here, and there's a nice beach around here that are both public lands, and I can take this whole setup, park it out there, have a beautiful views as I'm fabricating and building stuff. I think that'd be super cool. And obviously, if I wanted to, I could take this setup anywhere, I'm in the United States. I can take this anywhere in the United States. And as long as I can get a job somewhere and pay a little bit of bills, I could take this wherever I want. The other reason is where I'm at now, this is not really a bad living situation, but I do kind of want to get out of it, mainly because of rent. So if I don't pay rent here, then I can divert more money to, I don't know if you can see that, it's kind of washed out, but the truck is back there. The truck is a flatbed, as you've already seen, and I'm going to do a camper build soon. Both of those things are pretty expensive, as you might imagine. So diverting some rent money to that would be pretty cool, I think. I went ahead and set this up for 12 feet because I want a full 8 feet in the back of the trailer, because as most people know, any kind of sheet of steel or any kind of sheet of plywood is sold in a 4x8 format. So I want to be able to fit that into the back of the fabrication trailer. But I also want some living quarters at the front, and I don't think 2 feet would work left over, so a 10-foot trailer wouldn't work. So the best thing after that is to go to 12-foot trailer, and then we get a 4-foot by 6-foot living quarters over here. All right, that's enough talking. Let's get to the main part of this video. I'm gonna start grabbing stuff inside, and we'll start filling up the living quarters first, and then we'll grab stuff from the garage and start filling up the fabrication part. Let's get to it. So, man, this is pretty hard. I'm starting to place a couple things. I've only got 3 of the batteries. There's one more sitting over there, and I got to place that. I've only got a few things in that living quarters, and it's pretty hard to cram a lot of stuff into a small 4x6 space, but let me keep working at it. We'll see if I can figure it out. All right, so I've got the majority of the things that I would like in the living quarters in the living quarters. So real quickly, again, that black line is what designates the living quarter space. It separates it from the fabrication space. So let me take you inside my humble little cabode, or cabode, home, whatever. So real quickly, running through the different things. I'll do it outside of the living quarters, because if I get in there, you won't be able to see anything. So toilet, that could easily be located outside of the living quarters, but then obviously that's over here where it's going to be outside, so when I'm fabricating, I'll have the side door on the trailer open and the main door on the rear of the trailer open, so you get bugs and stuff like that. So ideally, you'd keep the toilet inside of the living quarters, and we'd have a vent fan anyways, because there'd be a cooking arrangement here. So this cooking, this is a propane one. You might get an electric one too, because we have a comprehensive enough electrical system to actually run a induction cooker rather than using propane. But anyways, this propane would be located a little bit higher up, because that's a fridge freezer combination and it opens on top. So you got to be able to get into it. And I just don't have anything to set that on right now. Just a proof of concept. So that's actually a water container. So your gray water that would go down the drain, or even like water you shower in, would go in there. That would probably be located somewhere around the toilet, because I'd want a sink about right here. And then if you go around, this would just be a table to do work on and stuff like that. Or even you can partition some of that for like food prep and stuff like that. And the other would be a workbench for my laptop and editing videos. And then here it would be the magic of the entire system. That is 4 100 amp hour lithium ion batteries. So 4,800 watt hours. And then it's got a big 3,000 watt inverter. So that electrical system you see right there would be able to run the lights in here. It can run an air conditioner in here. And it would also be enough power to run welders, grinders, and stuff like that. Obviously, you can't run all those really high power draw electrical components off of this system at once, but you could most certainly do them one at a time. And it would have no problem running that fridge for days on end, and even running lights in here. Another thing that's not shown in this whole setup is solar panels, just because they would be mounted on the top of the trailer. But right now I have 4 solar panels for that. That's probably not enough for the power draw of a air conditioner full time, but that would be, but I want to get 2 more solar panels, because I realize that would fit on the eventual camper build that I'm going to do on that truck. So the final couple things that would need to go in this living quarters here would be a chair. And this guy, when this is actually a real bench and not an ironing board. Ironing boards are great tables, by the way, but this guy would be able to slide up under there, and you'd be able to stand in this little area here. And there you go. Well, this would be a pretty tight living quarters. I think it might work. The only thing that's not on here would be a bed. And so this would be the front of the trailer facing that way. If I didn't get a V-nose trailer, so trailers that have a nose like this, it was a flat nose trailer, we'd be able to push a lot of this out, and then the bed would fit perfectly. It'd be up high, it'd be like a top bunk, and I could just barely sleep left to right in a 6-foot bed, or in a 6-foot wide trailer, but it would work. It'd be tight. So we'll start loading the back of the trailer in a little bit, but just again to cover. So we've got a toilet here, there'd be a sink here, maybe this stove would be mounted higher. Right below that you'd have a fridge, big work desk here, and then all the electrical system and stuff like that would be located down there. I could obviously work here, do a bit of food prep over here, and then maybe some more storage over there. This chair would slide in, hopefully, under a desk here. You'd have a lot more room, so I'll get it out of the way for now. That chair would slide up under this desk here, and then this door would open. I'd have a door here. This would open, and we'd be able to step out into the fabrication setup. So yeah, other than the bed issue, this could work. But let's see if I can fit everything in the back there. All right, so I've got this set up here, and let me show you this one to you, but I don't think this one's gonna work. So I've got the toolbox at the back, and there's a bit of a workbench there, and then the drill press. That would be pretty much the end of the trailer. The reason why I don't think this is gonna work is because I still need to cram a welder in here, and I wanna keep this side completely open. As you can see with the 2 planks of wood here, hopefully, that's the very end of the trailer. I'd like to keep one side of the trailer open for material storage. If we're gonna be fabricating out of the inside of this thing, we need something to obviously fabricate with, so I would like to keep one side of the trailer open for material storage. The other thing too, I don't entirely need a workbench inside the trailer. It would be very nice to be able to work inside in inclement weather, be able to work on some smaller projects. But mainly on most trailers, so for example, say the trailer wall is right behind the welder here. Generally they have a door on one side, so you'd be able to go out that door and then be able to have I envision a flip down table on the other side of that door. And also you could very easily throw 2 lightweight sawhorses outside of the trailer like that, and then put a piece of board across the top of them, and we make another outside workbench. So let me reconfigure this real quick, and we'll look at this again. So there's what it would look like with the workbench removed. You just have toolbox, welder, a little bit of space in between, and then the drill press. I think that actually worked better because you could easily situate the door on this side, or rather situate this stuff on whichever side of the trailer the door is, and you'd be able to go in and out of that door. And then on the opposite side of the trailer, we'd have all of our material storage that could be strapped up to the wall and kept in place while in transit. Okay, so I've got pretty much everything I want out there in the box that is our imaginary trailer. We're gonna go through the garage, and I'm just gonna show you the things I have in here that I don't think I'll be taking with me because they just won't fit in the trailer, or they're not entirely necessary. The first of these things being this cart, which is, you can't really tell it's a cart, but it's a material storage cart, and it keeps all this stuff vertical. So I've got my wood, my steel, aluminum, it's all pretty well organized on here. And then in the back, there's more steel, wood, polycarbonate, whatnot. Anyways, point being is this little cart that I made myself would not be going with me. There's way more material than I need. I can leave this here and just kind of come back to it when I need it to grab different materials for different projects, and in the meantime be gone out somewhere else fabricating. Another big thing that wouldn't be going with me is this workbench. If I need to, I'll build a smaller workbench inside of the trailer that would be out there. And all these tools that are on the wall, usually I don't need all of them. Obviously, them being mounted on pegboard like most of them are now would not be ideal when you're going down the road, because they would pretty much just fall off pretty easily, and that's obviously a no-go. Where I work, what we do with the tools and on our workbench is we just have them piled in a corner, and you just kind of sort through the pile and grab the tool you need. It's way less efficient than this, but it does work. Another tool that I would need, and I don't have it out there, is this chop saw. So this makes your life so much easier when you're cutting stuff. It just does perfect 90-degree cuts every time, and it's super fast. Obviously, other things I don't have out there just because they'd be mounted to the wall would be angle grinders. And other than that, a bench vise is absolutely necessary. So this would need to be mounted somewhere in that guy. There is a little bit of free space out there left in that little box for a bench vise. This is absolutely a necessary tool. A really not that necessary tool is this guy right here, a bench grinder. It does come in handy when you need to grind a lot of stuff, but it's really not necessary because with an angle grinder, I have probably 3 of these things that I'd have with me when I'm out on the road, and you've got a plethora of different attachments that can actually go onto an angle grinder. I already talked about this one, but I have 2 welders. So there's the blue one, which is right out there, and this guy. So that blue one can weld pretty much anything, and this one only does steel and only does MIG welding. So I don't need both of them, but I would be taking this gas bottle because you need different gas bottles to weld different metals. That one's for steel, the one outside is for aluminum. So I would be taking that gas bottle, but luckily that gas bottle will fit on the welding cart that's out there. Another thing that wouldn't go with me is this big air compressor. I don't need air when I'm fabricating very much, but if I did need air, I do have a much smaller pancake air compressor that's in another room in the house. And I don't use that one because this one is so fast, but this is just way too big to cram into that trailer. And also, this guy is not on the truck yet, but it is an air compressor. It's designed to be vehicle mounted. It runs on 12 volts, and it will be going on the truck soon. I already have the brackets made up for it. So if I really need compressed air, you could turn the just turn the ignition on in the truck and run this guy for a little bit. If I needed to run the truck, or just, you know, with the key on, the truck doesn't need to be started to run that air compressor is what I'm saying. I have a little jumper pack that can that I can jump start the truck if the battery goes dead from running the air compressor too much. But again, I don't really need compressed air too often. This little lithium ion starter pack guy, I keep that right here in the truck. This thing's super nice because if you kill your own battery, you can essentially jump start yourself with this little tiny battery pack. I have a video review of this guy right there if you're interested in seeing it. It's a pretty cool little device. Check it out. So there's the majority of the whole setup. That would be the box trailer right there. It would end right where this, right where the drill press is sitting. So just covering a couple things that aren't in there because I'd have to make them. That drill press is about 5 feet tall, so there would be shelving up above that, and that would be for small tool storage and stuff like that. And then obviously, I think I covered compressed air would not be in here. That would be handled by the truck and then supplied to the trailer. And also I need to throw a chop saw in there somewhere, and my angle grinders, stuff would be hanging on the wall all over the place. Need room for them, and I think I said it plenty of times, but there would need to be material storage on this side, so there'd be something to keep material up against this wall of the trailer. So now, is this doable or not? Ooh, hold up, one more thing that I forgot about, water tank. That would definitely need to be somewhere because you need drinking water, and I'd like to put a shower that would also deploy kind of right where that chair is sitting. That water tank could be either housed up high, like along the roof somewhere, or you can house it down low. You can technically even put it outside, but it might freeze in different climates that aren't Florida, because I live in Florida. But the water tank can easily be housed outside the fabrication area if there's not enough room in the living quarters. All right, there's the full loadout of the entire trailer. This is set up as a try not to die. This is set up as a 6x12 trailer. Do I think it's possible to, cook, store food, live out of, work out of, shower in, and most importantly, fabricate out of, because that's what I do here on this channel? Yeah, I think it is. Am I gonna do it? I don't know. Investing in a trailer is a pretty big thing. I'm glad that I can fit everything into a 6x12 because that means I can stick to like a single axle trailer instead of going to a double axle trailer, because that's a pretty big investment. It's about an extra $1,000 to go to a double axle trailer, and I don't think I'll really need the extra weight capacity of a double axle trailer. But yeah, let me know what you think. Am I crazy? Am I not? Furthermore, would you do a setup like this? I'm not so sure I would, to be honest with you, but make sure and subscribe. Stay tuned to the channel, and if you see me posting something that said I bought a trailer, then you'll know what I'm doing. If not, I'll keep living and fabricating out of here for you. Hopefully you enjoyed the video and you found it mildly entertaining. If you did, please like and share. Does anyone actually share videos? I've never shared a video on YouTube. You don't have to share this one, I promise. So there we go. With that, I'm Jay, you've been watching Jay Designs, and thank you so much for watching. So as you can see, I got everything cleaned up behind the truck, but I forgot one very important tool, and you probably saw it in the back of the video the whole time. It's that big frame that you see behind the truck right there. That's called a gantry. Essentially what it is a big crane. It's really useful for picking stuff up. So when I was building that flatbed build, I absolutely had to have that thing. I could kind of set the flatbed on the truck myself, but it's pretty awkward to do, and I was more like dropping it on the truck than setting it down before I had that big crane thing. And I will need this tool going forward when I do a camper build on this flatbed. I'm gonna need that gantry to kind of move the camper up and down on the bed of the truck. I could break this guy down and go put it into the trailer, but and that's totally fine. I could assemble it there pretty easily and relatively quickly. Well, the problem is standing that guy up. It's at its lowest configuration. I think it's like 9 feet tall or something like that. And I think last time we stood it up, it took 3 people to stand that thing up, and it was still pretty hard to do. So it'll either have to stay here or it'll have to stay at a friend's house, and I'll just come back and use it when I need it.